I'm going to break it down for you so that I have all the reasons why coronavirus is a joke, or at least the government response to coronavirus is a joke, and why you should stop immediately if you have any brains in your head, why you will stop following all of these rules and actually go out of your way to disobey the rules. And if anybody comes after you for disobeying those rules, why you may have to resort to physical violence with them. I'm going to break it down for you all in one video. So sit tight and grab some popcorn if you need to, get a drink, go to the bathroom, do what you need to do, because I'm going to break it all down for you. And I'm going back all the way up until March when this whole thing started. I'm going to go back. So I want you to sit tight with me and I'm going to go through this. So the first reason why the response to coronavirus from our government is a joke, why this isn't as deadly as we've been told, while it is real and it will kill you, just like a lot of things can kill you, even having a cold can kill you, but it's not as life-threatening and as world-destroying as possible, as we've been told, and why you should go out of your way to disobey these rules, because it's being used, this virus, which kills less than 1% of people who get it, is being used to empower our government even more and make Big Pharma a lot of money and put you in a state of fear, because fear, people who are afraid are easy to control. The first reason is that precisely what I just said. This virus has killed less than 1% of people who have contracted it. Less than 1% of people, my friends, who have gotten coronavirus have died from it. Not only that, but even a minuscule percent of people with pre-existing conditions like diabetes, elderly people, cancer, etc., a minuscule amount of those individuals have actually died when they got coronavirus. So while it does kill, coronavirus will kill you. I'm not saying that coronavirus isn't real or COVID-19 is real, or what I would prefer to call it, the Chinese virus. It's real and it can kill you. It's only killed less than 1% of people who have gotten it, and that includes people with pre-existing conditions. You should be more afraid to drive on any of the freeways or any of the roads in Canada or in America or around the world right now than you should be of coronavirus. You should be more afraid to go fishing in Algonquin Park in Northern Ontario because you could be mauled by a bear or attacked by a wolf than afraid of coronavirus. It's just the facts. The numbers speak for themselves. But the media, instead of reporting on the people who have recovered from coronavirus, they love to report on the people who have gotten it or who have died from it. Just like now in Ontario, where I am, they're now saying there's a spike in corona cases, but what they're not telling you is that we haven't seen any deaths of coronavirus. I mean, they've reported a few, but it's really hasn't been to the scale that they're probably hoping for. They're just reporting the cases that have spiked, but they're not talking about most of those cases will recover. If not all of those cases will probably recover. The deaths are getting lower and lower. Number two, Japan, which is probably one of the most populated nations on Earth with the smallest landmass, never had a lockdown. And this was during the worst of it. In March and in April, there was no lockdown. Now, keep this in mind. This is a country with a population probably 3 times or 4 times the size of Canada. I think Japan probably even has more people than the United States of America. Yet the landmass of Japan is probably about the same as California. So imagine the whole population plus of the United States living in California. All of these people mushed together, and there is absolutely no lockdowns. People were going about their business as usual. If you've ever seen a Tokyo subway, I mean, you'll know it's impossible to have social distancing there. So that's probably so they're all mushed together, and not only is the population safe, yeah, there were corona cases, but the population didn't die out or radically get altered because of coronavirus. It didn't happen. Now, people will come to me and say, oh, well, those Asians, they wear masks. Well, many of them do wear masks. And first of all, the mask wearing comes from China. Not so much in Japan. It's mostly China. Chinese wear masks, and they wear it because the pollution is so bad in China. When you go to China, many people come back needing to smoke because the pollution is just so bad. So they wear the mask to cover the smell, to limit the smell. Mask wearing isn't so popular in Japan, but even so, not everybody in Japan wears masks. And so that leads me to the third reason. Japan and many of these other countries, which not only didn't have a lockdown policy, but also didn't have a mask wearing policy, it still didn't alter their population. They're still as overpopulated as ever. So a lot of people don't wear masks and stuff like that. In Japan, yes, some people do, but I mean, not everyone does. And so now they're saying if you don't wear a mask, you're killing people. But how is it that people in Japan, not everybody there, you're not gonna go anywhere in Japan and see everybody wearing a mask. That just doesn't happen. Not everybody's gonna do anything. I mean, but the population is still functioning, very much functioning. So it's just another reason why we should, take this as a false flag. They're using this minuscule virus to take away our freedoms and to put us into submission. The fourth reason, and by the way, not only was Japan not on lockdown, Sweden wasn't on lockdown either. But the next reason, and I believe I'm on the fourth reason now. These politicians, especially in Canada, and I'm speaking to Canada because that's what I know. I'm sure it's been in every country as well, but I'm speaking of Canada. Pretty much almost all of these politicians, with the exception of maybe Randy Hillier, who is an MPP in Ontario, they're all pounding after us to follow the rules. And if they don't follow the rules, we are going to tear you to pieces. We're going to rip you to pieces. You follow these rules. Doug Ford calling us yahoos and Trudeau telling us to stay home and all this. But Trudeau, Ford, Andrew Scheer, Brian Pallister, who's the Premier of Manitoba, and Patrick Brown, who is the mayor of the city of Brampton next to Toronto, have all broken their own rules at one time or another. Justin Daddy Trudeau went to his cottage when everybody was supposed to be quarantined for Easter, and he was huddled around his family, no social distancing, none of that, taking photographs and putting them on Facebook and on Twitter. And he said, well, we're safe, it's fine, no problem. He went to his cottage. Not only that, Justin, the tacky and Mac Daddy Trudeau, went to a Black Lives Matter rally of thousands upon thousands of people in Toronto, even though his wife had coronavirus, all huddled up together, no social distancing or nothing. Doug Ford went to his cottage also during the height of the quarantine. And not only that, Doug Ford recently has been pictured at a wedding of more than 10 people. Nobody was wearing masks, no social distancing, having a great time, even though he's now telling people to rat on anybody who has parties of up to more than 10 people. And he calls people yahoos who protest against his foolishness. The hugs over masks, he called us yahoos. Brian Pallister and Andrew Scheer were caught at Toronto Pearson with no masks on. And Patrick Brown, who I believe is one of the worst cases and one of the most disgusting cases, was caught in Brampton in an ice rink twice, playing a hockey game with all his friends, no social distancing or nothing, when the hockey rink was supposed to be closed. He has it open, he's playing away, and a good friend of mine named David Menzies of The Rebel, when he finds this out, instead of being apologetic, Patrick Brown calls him a hater for exposing him. He's a hater. And he issued a no trespass order against David Menzies. He's not allowed to go on the property of any Brampton public property that's owned by the city of Brampton. And David Menzies did it again to catch Patrick in the act. And David's the one who got arrested. Why shouldn't Patrick get arrested? He's breaking the coronavirus rules. He is putting everybody's life in danger. As is Trudeau, as is Scheer, as is Pallister, as is Ford. They all have broken their rules at one point or another, but they're ready to lock us all up and put us in concentration camps if we don't wear masks, if we don't social distance, if we have gatherings of more than 10 people, and the list goes on and on and on. And this leads me to the sixth reason. The politicians, for some reason or another, have figured out that the Chinese virus won't affect you if you are a part of a Black Lives Matter protest. The media says it, the provincial politicians say it, the federal politicians say it, and even south of the border in the United States, Joe Biden says it, Kamala Harris says it, all these Democrat politicians who love to use the hurt and the anger of black people to their advantage, they somehow have figured out that coronavirus won't affect you if you join the Black Lives Matter protest. And they'll even join you in that protest. Al Sharpton, he had his rally and march on his failed attempt to be like Martin Luther King at the reflecting pool. That was allowed. You can do that. It won't get you. Corona won't get you there. But anyhow you go to church, anyhow you attend a Hugs Over Mask rally, anyhow you attend a Trump rally, anyhow you have any other party of more than 10, coronavirus is going to wipe you out in a holocaust of death. Now that doesn't make sense to me. That's almost like the politicians are laughing at us now. And the media is joining in on it too. So that just says to me that this whole virus is a complete joke. And that I will no longer follow any of these rules. I make an effort not to follow the rules. When I'm going into a store and they say, do you have a mask? I tell them I have a health condition. I don't have a health condition. I tell them I do though. And they can't ask me any questions. And if they try to get me out of the store, I'll say, oh, so you're discriminating against me for having a health condition? And by the way, don't think I've forgotten about that bingo hall in Pickering that mistreated that old lady who told her to wear a mask on her neck because she breathes through her neck because she has cancer. I actually got in touch with, I believe it was the son or grandson or something. He reached out to me because he saw the video of how I defended her, and in the near future, we're most likely going to do an interview on Arana Nation. But I'm still going to go to that bingo hall. I'm still going to go there. You watch. I haven't forgotten about it. I need to find a time in my schedule where I can go, but I haven't forgotten about them. Make no mistake. Don't rest easy. I'm still coming for them. So these are many of the reasons why Corona is a joke and why I am no longer going to follow the guidelines. And by the way, did y'all hear the health official Theresa Tam saying you need to wear masks during sex? I mean, I don't know. Maybe she's used to her husband putting a bag over her head when he has sex with her because she is pretty ugly, or maybe she just doesn't have sex, so she doesn't, But that's just ridiculous. It's like these guys are literally laughing at us now. They really think that we're asleep. But I'm stunk down with the public. I know what the real public is saying, not what some stupid poll has to say, some doctored poll. I am in touch with people who come into my circle, and it's not just people who I'm a part of a group. I'm talking about average people on the street who come into my place of business, who I bump into in the store. They all say it's ridiculous. Which leads me to another reason. Why is it that when all the stores were closed, the small businesses had to close, but places like Walmart and McDonald's were allowed to stay open? It's like coronavirus won't get you if you go to Walmart. It won't get you if you go to McDonald's. It won't get you if you go to Target. But anyhow you go to a small mom and pop diner or some antique store with some name that nobody's ever heard of, you're going to get coronavirus. I would say it's actually easier to contain the amount of people in a small business than it would be in Walmart. But again, we have to remember that these politicians know that this whole coronavirus thing is not that serious. It will kill you. It is real, but they are using it for power. They're trying to scare us into submission. And a lot of people are falling for it. I'm not. You can do that if you want, but I'm not. And as I said, I am dead serious. I am prepared. I'm prepared to fight, and I'm prepared to even kill if you try to punish me for following these phony baloney rules. I won't do it. I'm prepared. I'm prepared to take up arms against my government. I'm prepared for a civil war. I'm prepared for all of it. I'm prepared. It's come to that point now where I'm speaking about this. I am prepared. It's come to that point. And you need to get there too. Don't allow the police to fine you. If you try to fine me, I won't pay the fine. I won't pay it. And if you try to come to me and take I'll kill you. I will. I will. You'll hear about me on the news. And I'll hide in the mountains, and I'll become a bush warrior. I'll become a jungle warrior. I will. It's come to the point where we have to give up our comfortable lives. We may have to give up our comfortable lives and take up arms against our government. Now, this is the reasons why I am against lockdowns and masks and social distancing and all this stuff. Now you have it. In one video, you have it. Take this information how you will. But I've just spoken the facts to you. And this is the Arana Nation.